Welcome everyone, this is Zozo Stockwatch, and let's get ready for the week ahead, August 21st to August 25th. Second consecutive weekly losses, markets finished lower Friday. So what will happen is anyone's guess. North Korea tensions ease, but Washington tensions heat up. Trump chaos. Is the Trump agenda dead? Another 4 years of getting nothing done? Corporate support for Trump leaving. Steve Bannon out. Republicans backing off. The market hates uncertainty. Terrorist attacks, unfortunately, in Barcelona, Spain. The earnings season is pretty much done. What's going to happen with the tax cuts and Obamacare healthcare? Rumors of Gary Cohn resigning are false, but still linger. Friday consumer confidence was strong, but then Steve Bannon was out. Markets do not like uncertainty. Buy the dip crowd did not show up so far. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to show you a lot of news stories, and then we'll get into the markets, and we'll see where we are headed for the week ahead. After the Charlottesville violence, Boston braces for demonstrations, and those demonstrations so far have been peaceful, and they're going on right now in Boston. Trump's chief strategist Steve Bannon is out at the White House. We did have terror attacks in Europe, in Barcelona, Spain this week. And these were the rumors I was talking about. False rumors that Gary Cohn is leaving the White House. That spooked Wall Street for good reason. But these rumors are still lingering. Billionaire Ken Langone. Trump's self-inflicted wound on Charlottesville hurts his economic agenda. So this is the thing that we're worried about now. Will the tax cuts go through? Will the infrastructure spending go through? So far, this is the staff that we've lost. Steve Bannon, Sean Spicer, Michael Flynn, and lastly, Rennis Priebus. So they're all out. Democrats senators call on Jewish members of Trump cabinet to resign. And lastly, for your headlines, and this came out, and this is from The Hill, Mark Cuban offers to serve as Trump's entrepreneurial czar. So that came out. So, while I try not to be political on my let's get ready, you just can't avoid it. So right now, everything is up in the air in Washington. And, the market's gone a long time without a correction, for about 18 months. The volatility's been low, even with the Fed raising rates. So we have to expect these stumbles. And also, seasonality is an issue and on the radar. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the markets and see where we are on the weekly charts. For the week, the Dow Jones was down 0.84%. And as you can see, we are pulling back to the 10 SMA watch list to see if this is going to hold for the week coming up. On the NASDAQ Composite, which was down 0.64% for the week, we have the weekly chart we're looking at here, and the 20 SMA on the weekly chart. The red line you see here is at 6,164. So keep your eye on that. That's the 20 SMA on the weekly. Next up, we have the utilities, which have been strong and are actually breaking out. So utilities very strong on volume, and basically that's a flight to safety. On your transports, you can see we're coming down to the 50 SMA on the weekly chart here, and we'll call that at 9,000. It's 8,997. So that's coming down to that 9,000 mark, and we're about 95 points away. And we'll look at the IYT also. So if you're an IYT player, The 50 SMA on the weekly is 162.04 for the 50 SMA on the weekly. And if we take a quick look at the daily chart, we have broken the 200 SMA on the IYT. So as go the transports, supposedly so should the Dow. So we shall see. Next up, we're going to take a look at we'll look at some gold. All right, and gold is up at this area here, and we talked about this in the previous videos, trying to break out above that 123.07. So far rejected on GLD, and pull back there to the 5 EMA on the daily chart here. On the weekly chart for gold, you can see it clearer here. This 123 area has been resistance a few times. And we still have sellers up there at that 123 spot on GLD. Hack, this is your cybersecurity, pulling back on the weekly to the 50 SMA. And on the daily chart, we're below, but trying to hold this 2850 on HACK. Next up, we'll take a look at the IBB. And the IBB is coming down to the 100 SMA on the daily chart. On the weekly chart, we're pulling back down to the 20 SMA for the IBB. The round number 300 is coming into play for the IBB. The HYG, this is the high yield corporate bonds. That's out down here at the 200 SMA and trying to hold. And so we'll see if they want to hold that there. And we're coming down here to the 50 SMA on the weekly chart. As far as the IWC, this is the micro caps. We came off that 90 resistance spot. We're pulling back now. 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 days in a row, and we are at the 50 SMA on the weekly chart. We'll see if that's going to maintain support. And we are at a support area. We'll call it around this $83 level. Below that, we have a level of about 82.93, so we'll call it 83. So watch this 83 level on the IWC. The IWM pulling back to a support area here at around that 134 mark, but we are below the 200 SMA on the IWM. As far as the weekly goes, you can see the support a little bit better and how important that 134 spot is for the IWM. JETS, which is the airlines ETF, you see the pullback here. The 50 SMA is down here at 28 on the weekly chart. Next up, we have the JJC, and that's making some new highs here. And this is copper. JJC is copper, and that popped up to about 34. And on the daily chart, you see it did try to break out, but we did reverse. And now we're trying to recover, so keep your eye on copper. OIH, a little bit of a recovery here. I mean, look how many days we've been down on the daily, and finally a little bit of bounce here at this $22 level. On the weekly chart for the OIH, this 20 level was support previously, so we'll have to see if they're going to hold this 22 or bring us back down to 20. And some stocks that make up the OIH are Schlumberger, SLB, and Halliburton, and also Rig. So you can see those charts are very weak and trending down. Next up, we'll take a look at the Qs, and this is the NASDAQ ETF. Still holding the 10 SMA on the weekly chart. On the daily chart, we're down here retesting the 50 SMA, and that's that yellow line you see here. So, you know, if we break this and can't hold the 50 SMA, you know, we may come down and test the 100 SMA, and that's currently at 138.97, so we'll call it 139, so only a few dollars away from that. So that will depend on how the futures open up on Sunday night. ROBO, which is the automation ETF index, still holding above the 50 SMA. On the weekly chart, we're still holding above the 10 SMA. Silver, not much play in it this week. Silver usually moves up when the economy is growing, but the economy has been kind of stagnant at 2% growth on the GDP. So silver really not too much in play right now. SLX, the steel ETF, maintaining above the 10 SMA on the weekly chart. As far as the daily chart, we are below the fast moving averages currently, and US Steel and AKS, things like that, STLD and NUE are some of the steel stocks, and as you can see, they're showing some weakness now with all the turmoil going on in Washington right now. The debate is whether that infrastructure is going to get through. So stocks like X and CLF may have a harder time moving up. So let's see what's going to happen with that agenda. Next up, we have the SMH. Holding the 50 SMA here on the daily chart, the yellow line. On the weekly chart, we are still holding above the 10 SMA, so not too much damage as of yet. And some leaders in the SMH are NVIDIA, holding above the 10. Intel is a big player in the SMH, obviously, and that one is testing the 10 SMA. And see this wedge here. It's below the wedge, couldn't break out over that 36, 37 spot on Intel. AVGO, Broadcom, big leader in the semi names, and this one is actually holding above the 10 SMA, but you see a lot of topping candles here currently. And then here's the daily chart, so that 255 looks to be resistance right now on a stock like AVGO. So that's for the semis. Next up, we'll take a look at the SPY. And looks like we're going to try to test this, this 100 SMA. You would think that first around that 241.50 level. Then after that, we have 240, which is a level to watch. So 241.50 and then 240 are some significant areas, the 100 SMA. And then on the weekly chart, we do have a possible test of the 20 SMA, which is at that 241.50 for the SPY. So 241.50, keep your eye on that right now. That looks like to be the most important number. Next up, we have UNG. And nothing really much going on here, so I'm not going to dwell on it. We did have a nice pop in the USO on Friday as the rig counts were more beneficial to oil moving up. So we had a pullback here down to USO to the 50 SMA, and then we popped on Friday for USO. This was one of the bright spots in the market for Friday. And then for the XOIL, which is light sweet crude, you see that we came up to this 50 spot on crude. We couldn't get through it. We pulled back now down to the 50 SMA. We'll call it 46 area, and we're bouncing off that. Now, will they attempt to get it back up through the 250 again? We're going to have to see some good news out of OPEC to make that happen. Right now, we just have a bounce off the 50 SMA and a continuation move, but 50 is the spot to watch. As you see, there's constant resistance there. As far as some of your let's see, we'll look at the UUP, which is the dollar, and you see that was bouncing off of lows around that 24 level. Slight push up, but no big move there. And then with the turmoil going on in Washington, you see the insecurity in the dollar, and 94 seems to be the headwind right now, and 93, 92.50 the support for the US dollar index. We'll take a look at the XLF real fast. And that is currently below the 50 SMA on the daily chart. We do have a 200 that is angled up, so that's positive for the bulls. As far as the XLF on the weekly chart, we're below the 10 SMA currently. The 20 SMA on the weekly is at $24.12, so we'll call it 24. So let's watch that 24 spot on the XLF. Is there any other things that I wanted to go over as far as sectors? Retail still taking a hit, down here near lows. The VIX, volatility is back. So here's the volatility index, but once again on the weekly chart, We could not get through that 16 spot. We did prior, but now we tried again to get through 16. Even with all the turmoil, that couldn't push us up through 16. So watch this 16 area on the VIX, and some tools you can use to trade that are the TVIX, the UVXY, okay, or some of the things that you can use to trade the VIX. Let me go to the dailies on these. Here's the UVXY, you know, trying to get up through that 39 spot and 40 spot, and then the TVIX, you know, trying to get up through the 22 area on the TIVIX, but so far not being able to succeed. You know, if you're looking to, you know, stay short or looking for protection, you want to look at such things as the TZA inverse. That's coming up to the 200 SMA, so you would think there might be a slight pullback in the TZA SDS. Also an inverse, so when you purchase these, you're actually betting that the market's going to go down, but you go long a product like the SDS, and then you will you know, be protecting your portfolio if the market should have more downside. And that's currently back over the 50 spot, and you see the volume coming in on the daily on these. SPXU also trying to push up and stay above on the daily the 50 SMA. So that is another product that you can use to protect your portfolio during these turbulent times. Okay, so that's the XPU and some inverses. I just wanted to go into that a little more in depth. Let's go ahead and look at some stocks here. Apple. And Apple is pulling back, may retest that 20 SMA. We were at all-time highs on Apple, but you know, this moved down with the market. Not a lot of damage done yet, and still above, you know, the 20 SMA, still above the 50. The 200 still sloped up. We'll look at it on a weekly chart, and as you can see on a weekly chart, we do have some topping tails here at what was it, 162.50. So you know, that was to be expected in this market, and we'll see. We're not even down near the 10 SMA yet on Apple, just to keep things in perspective. Amazon, we are below the 10 SMA on the weekly, so a little more weakness in Amazon, but we are at the 20 SMA on Amazon. I'll take a look at it on the daily, which is trying to hold this 100 SMA on the weekly. Now, if this low should go on Friday, which is 954, whoops, 954.65. So keep your eye on that low from Friday, 964.45, and we do have a low at 951.38. So you know, a couple of spots to watch on Amazon if that weakness is going to continue. BABA, and we'll go over this a little bit more, but BABA was a bright spot in the markets this week on their earnings. It popped up. So BABA looking strong. As far as some of the banks and the IBB and biotech stocks, we had Biogen couldn't get up and hold above that 295 spot, so we've pulled back, but we still are above the 50 SMA. Citigroup coming back down to test the 50 SMA. Bank America below the 50 SMA. JP Morgan trying to hold this 50 SMA. Google below the 100 SMA, but trying to hold above this 900 level here on Google. So we're just running through some stocks here. Netflix trying to hold this 50 SMA. You would think, you know, if that breaks, you know, then you're going to test this gap here, and that's around that 163 spot on for that gap. And if that breaks, then you might go all the way down to about 160 is the next area of support for Netflix. Priceline, we had this doji candle, and we've talked about this in the past. If you put some Bollinger Bands on your charts every once in a while, you can see we came up in this shadow doji candle, inverted hammer, came up to the Bollinger Band, and we pulled back. So this inverted hammer, then the gap down, and then we've been down since on the Bollinger Bands, and you can see it better also on the Dow Jones Industrial Averages, you see this kind of inverted, indecisive candle. We pop up, we get the reversal, and we've been down since. Same thing on the SPY. There's that candle spiking up through the Bollinger Band, hitting that 249, resistance, and then we've been down since. So this was something we talked about in previous videos. So we'll go back and we'll look at Facebook, because I don't want to neglect the Facebook shareholders. And the Friday low was on this name 166.21. So watch that 166 area on the weekly chart. Currently, not too much damage done, still holding above the 10, but now we're going to have to watch that 166 spot for Facebook. And then after that, if that breaks, then possibly you have a low here. We'll call it 164 for Facebook, and the 10 SMA is currently at 161.01 for Facebook. And lastly, we'll take a look at Tesla, another one of the big names, and that is coming down to the 10 SMA on the weekly chart. As far as the daily chart, we did have a pullback now down to the 20 SMA. The low on Friday on this name was 345.80. We'll call it 346. And so if that 346 area breaks, you would think we could get a possible test of the 100 SMA, and that is currently at 331. We'll call it 331.50 spot. And then on the weekly chart, like we said, if we break this 10 SMA, we have the 20 SMA at 333.78. So a bunch of numbers coming up at you, but just usually if one moving average breaks, you're going to retest another moving average, usually. Just keep an eye on some of these levels, your 100 SMA, and then switch over to your weekly charts and check where your 20 SMA is on, the bigger names if you're holding these. All right, so I'm going to be right back with best stocks for the week and then the worst stocks for the week. So Baba is the new boss right now. Baba, after their earnings, stock was up over 10% for the week. A positive name in retail this week, up 9% for the week after their earnings, was Urban Outfitters, and that was up, like I said, 9% for the week. And you see the volume that came into the name, and we did pop. Next up for the week, we had AABA, and this is connected with Alibaba, and this was up close to 9% for the week. So these are the two powerhouses right now in the market. MU, also a very strong stock this week. A lot of call activity around this name, up 8% for the week. DRYS also up 8% for the week. That's right, Dry's up 8% for the week. But you have to really scroll out on this weekly chart to see any positive there for Dry's, and we'll just take a look at it on the daily. So you see it's come off the lows of like a buck. They held the buck, and now it's kind of consolidating. So a lot of players are watching this 363 area for Dry's, so if you want to keep your eye on that. But that was up for the week, like we said, 8%. Next big winner for the week was JMEI, and let me scroll this back in. This stock was up over 36% for the week, JMEI, so nice move there. FENG up 63% for the week on FENG. IPDN up 51% for the week. SPEX up 42% for the week. XNET up 33% for the week. CDTI up 33% for the week. DGLT, I show here, was up 163% for the week. Now here's the problem. NASDAQ has halted this stock and has not reopened it. They're kind of investigating DGLT. So that's the problem when you play some of these big names. I'm sorry, some of these under $1 names, and they pop big. They get investigated, and everybody remember, I think, what was it, WINS? This has yet to open. So this made a big, huge move and has yet to open because it was being investigated by NASDAQ, and I believe it was delisted. So DGLT, I hope you guys are not caught in this one, and hopefully it will reopen. HLG up 46% for the week. SKY up 47% for the week on SKY. Next one we have XPLR, and that was up 47% for the week. JNCE, a nice gain of 22% for the week. And then RENN up 23% for the week, and that one looks like it could run a little bit more. A nice looking weekly chart there. VBLT, a nice pop for the week, up 23%. And lastly, IOTS, semiconductor memory name, and this one was making new highs on the weekly during the week, and it looks like a recent IPO. We have a high here of 850, and this was up 19% for the week. Take a quick look at the daily on this one, and you see all the days that it was up, and it was riding the 5 EMA. So IOTS, nice pop. Obviously, we're looking for a pullback to maybe get involved in this IOTS. So now I'll be back with you for the worst stocks for the week. So your worst stocks for the week, missing on earnings, missing on revenues, was Foot Locker, and Nike and Under Armour are maybe going directly more to the consumer than they were before. So Nike and Under Armour and Adidas and whatnot maybe will make direct sales to the consumer, and this is going to hurt Foot Locker and things like Finish Line. So Foot Locker was down 30% for the week on their earnings. DKS, another sporting goods store, down 21% for the week. UA was down 8%. UAA, if you follow that one, was down about 8% also. Nike was also down 7% on the Nike. Finish Line was affected, obviously, down 18% for the week. COH down 15% for the week. KORS down 6% for the week on Coors. LB, Limited Brands, Victoria's Secret, I think it's Bed Bath and Beauty and Bath products. They were down 11% for the week, because a lot of this stuff you can buy online. So they are definitely getting Amazon. JCPenney down another 8% for the week. RIG down 10% for the week on RIG. So we switch over to a few oil names now. So retail and oil, RIG down. APA was down 5% for the week. WLL, which is Whiting Petroleum, that was down 8%. Deere came out with earnings on Friday, and that stock, you see the hit that it took, was down 7% on Friday with their earnings. MRO, another oil name, down 10% for the week. BBG down 10%. Briggs & Stratton, they were down 10% for the week. CLR, an oil name, down about 5%. OAS down about 7%. BBOX was down 17% for the week. EXXI down 39% for the week, and that's an oil name also. Roca was down 37% for the week on Roca. ANY, one of these small Sphere 3D, and that was down 18% for the week. SORL, after their earnings, they went straight down 25%. That's an auto parts company. TEAR down 20% in that name. XGTI also down 19%. And forgot to mention, so this XGI was down 19% for the week. But on my best stocks for the week, I forgot to mention Snap. And Snap was up over 18% for the week. So Snap, having a great week, and we did talk about this one on videos all week long, and I hope you guys participated in this SNAP. So Snap up 18% for the week. For information coming up for the week ahead, on Monday, you see very limited economic information coming out for Monday. The Chicago Fed National Activity Index, that's at 8:30 a.m. Monday the 21st. On the 22nd, we have the Red Book. We have a housing price index at 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock, we have the Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index. API, if you're watching crude, around 4:30 p.m. Keep your eye on crude. The API crude oil data will be coming out. And then also on Tuesday night, we have at 8:30 p.m. approximately Japan's PMI Manufacturing Index. For Wednesday, we have MBA mortgage applications, new home sales, petroleum report on Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. We do have some Fed speak coming up for Wednesday. Robert Kaplan, and he's going to speak at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday. Jackson Hole is going to start on Thursday the 24th. You're going to have Yellen there, Mario Draghi from the ECB. So some of the names that'll be there at Jackson Hole Economic Policy Symposium. And then for economic information for Thursday the 24th, initial jobless claims, PMI, composite flash, existing home sales, nat gas report at 10:30, 11 a.m. the Kansas City Fed Manufacturing Index, and then we have numbers coming out from Japan, their CPI at 7:30 p.m. and that's on Thursday night. As far as the Jackson Hole, that continues on Friday and I believe through the weekend. We do have some Fed speak at 10 a.m. on Friday the 25th at 10 a.m. and that'll be Janet Yellen. In Germany at 2 a.m. we have their GDP. And then for economic information, 8:30 we have the durable goods orders. And then at 1 p.m. the ever important Baker Hughes rig count for the oil players out there, and that's for Friday. And this is your economic information from the 21st through the 25th, and that's courtesy of the Trade Exchange. Some of your earnings, though, we do have coming up, and you can see that here. For the earnings, and for your earnings coming out for the week ahead on Monday, one of the bigger names is WUBA58.com, and that's Monday before the open. After the bell, we have BZUN, FN, HIL, NDSN, PINC, and ZAYO, and that's Monday after the bell. Next up for Tuesday, let's see, before the open, some of the bigger names, CMCM, COTY, JASO, JASO, Kirk, KIRK, Momo will be reporting Tuesday before the bell, MOMO, the symbol there. We have Toll Brothers reporting, and Navos Maritime, NM reporting before the bell on Tuesday. After the close, we have VNet, VNET, ARAY, CREE, CREE. Intuit will be reporting INTU. Salesforce on Tuesday after the bell, CRM, and ZTO Express. Then before the bell on Wednesday, we have American Eagle, AEO, Eaton, EV, Express, EXPR, Lowe's before the bell on Wednesday, LOW, Rena Sol, SOL, Yingling Green Energy, YGE, will be reporting before the bell on Wednesday, August 23rd. During trading hours, I have listed Fizz, F-I-Z-Z, and that's the soda company. So keep your eye, I don't know how accurate that is, but during trading hours, F-I-Z-Z, keep your eye out for that. As far as after the close, we have GES. Next up, we have HPQ, HP. Let's see, any other big names here? Williams Sonoma, WSM for Wednesday after the bell, and PVH reporting after the bell on Wednesday. As far as Thursday goes, we have 1-800-Flowers, FLWS, ANF, Burlington, BURL. Let's see, I'm looking for some other names. Dollar Tree, this is all before the bell on Thursday. DLTR, so more retailers coming out. Jinko Solar, JKS, PDCO, let's see, Signet Jewelers, SIG, Sears Holdings, SHLD, Seadrill will be before the bell on Thursday, SDRL, Sanderson Farms, SAFM, Tuesday morning, TUES, Staples, SPLS, SPLS for Staples. Tiffany will be reporting on Thursday morning, and the symbol there is TIF. Perry Ellis, PERY, will be reporting. Michael Stores, MIK. So a lot of earnings before the bell, a lot of retailers before the open on Thursday, August 4th. After the close for Thursday, we have Broadcom, AVGO. That's a big name, so a lot of folks will be watching that. AVGO, the symbol there. MRVL, Marvel, another semiconductor name. Looking through Ulta Beauty, ULTA will be reporting. VMware, VMW also reporting, and Broadcade, BRCD, Autodesk, ADSK, and that's pretty much it for the bigger names. AABA will be reporting. Altaba will be reporting, and that one's connected with BABA. So AABA reporting after the close on Thursday. As far as Friday goes, Big Lots is the main one for Friday. BIG, the symbol there. So Big Lots is the name there. Like we said, Broadcom, Ulta, VMware, GameStop, Splunk, SPLK is the symbol there. Broadcade I mentioned, Smuckers, I think it's SJM, Hormel, HRL. Let's see, Dollar Tree we mentioned, Lowe's. So quite a bit of earnings coming up. The big one also here for tech was that Salesforce. That's going to be coming up on where was our Salesforce one? Oh, here it is. Salesforce Tuesday after the bell. CRM, the symbol there, and Intuit, INTU, another name, Tuesday after the close. So while I don't want to be political on these videos, it's very hard this week not to talk some politics out of Washington. All eyes are going to be on Washington next week. Like we said, the market does not like uncertainty. So, with cabinet members maybe looking to leave the Trump administration, that causes uncertainty. So take it slow next week. Let's see what happens. Like we said, we do have some good, important earnings coming out. So that might change the direction of the market if such stocks like Broadcom and Salesforce do well with their earnings. So we'll see. All right, so stay posted. I do a video each day, stocks to watch, and try to keep you abreast of what's going on in the market on each day. So thank you so much for your support for the channel. So this has been Zozo Stock Watch. You're more ready for the week ahead, August 21st through August 25th, than you were before. Have a great rest of the weekend, folks. I'll be back Sunday with your stocks to watch for Monday. And thank you so much for your support on the channel. So let's see what's going to happen with this market. Play small, play smart, play safe. Have a great weekend.